As of late April, there are 22 million people unemployed in the US and 2 million people in the UK. To put those numbers in perspective, around this time last year, the unemployed numbers were 5.82 million and 1.3 million in each country. Once this pandemic is over, there will be a large number of people unemployed that are going to need new jobs. The crux of the matter is there will be a lot of firing despite firms taking grants and loans from the government. Firms that are doing well will hire. Some businesses have prospered during these times for a number of reasons. Some sell an inelastic product, some have ample cash reserves, others are online intensive and do not have brick and mortar premises. These are and will be the type of firms that are in a position to recruit. They will hire staff if their company has seen a rise in demand for its products or services, or if they believe that they can get the best talent. The questions are, will firms use AI in the recruitment process, and if so, how may this affect you? In this video, I'm going to go through AI's current role in recruiting staff, the various issues with using AI, the aftermath of COVID-19 effects on AI and recruitment in itself, potential ways AI can be used, and how best you can prepare for the increased use of AI in recruitment. The first thing to note is some firms are already using AI in their recruitment process, but why are we even using AI for this in the first place? What was wrong with the traditional selection process of trawling through a pile of CVs, matching it to the prospective job position, and then calling in candidates for an interview? And what happened to interviewers actually interviewing by asking relevant questions? A study by the US Department of Labor and Gallup suggested this process is only 16% effective in finding the right candidate for a role. Poor hiring decisions are estimated to cost $1.6 million for every 1,000 hires made according to Randstad. There is huge scope for efficiency improvements and cost cutting, and companies are increasingly starting to believe AI can help achieve this. Using algorithms has not replaced the whole recruitment process to date, from search, interview to hire, but companies are utilizing AI wherever they can along various stages in the process. AI is supposed to make things fairer for applicants, speed up the CV sifting process, display personality insights, and assist in hiring candidates that are ideal for the organization. It's there to streamline processes and automate parts of the workflow entirely. AI is not bulletproof though, in terms of eliminating prejudice. It cannot remove all biases, as the data the algorithms are fed with will more likely than not contain some biases. The question is using the AI more or less biased than using a human being? A human can make invalid assumptions about a candidate and could be prejudiced, whereas an algorithm relies solely on data and facts rather than opinions. Algorithms and data can also be tweaked to improve its performance with no resistance or arguments from the AI, whereas it is difficult to remove staff members involved in the recruitment process or alter their behaviour. An area where AI is typically being used is to auto-screen candidates, essentially code sorting candidates based on criteria set by the employer, which aids the online application process and speeds up the shortlisting of applicants. Most recruiters are already using software that does not require AIs to filter CVs. This, however, is a crude method and good candidates can unintentionally be discarded. AI, on the other hand, will do all of the CV trawling and online information reviewing on a recruiter's behalf, which saves a huge amount of time. A recruiter could spend 13 hours simply looking for candidates for one job role. AI can be used as a data analytics tool also. It can analyze the whole workflow process and determine what works well when a candidate is hired and identify the weak points in the process when a client is turned away. AI is being used in interviews held via platforms like Skype. Unilever uses AI to analyze a candidate's facial cues, body language, and word choices against a selection of markers indicative of job success to determine whether or not a candidate is the right choice. Not only can AI schedule interviews, it can increase the response time to candidates in the hiring process, providing a better service for them as they get faster feedback from recruiters, making the process more efficient. AI's effectiveness will depend on the accuracy of the data, how the data is prepared, and the data modeler's idea of fairness. There have already been issues here, Amazon being a prime example. They abandoned their AI recruitment tool because it discriminated against women. Turns out the algorithm favoured employees that were like Amazon's existing workflows, which predominantly consisted of men. We human beings are excellent pattern recognizers, but not as good as machines. Nonetheless, we have the upper hand when it comes to making inferences and drawing conclusions from data, whereas AI has no actual understanding of the data. AI makes connections from data but does not define causes. Professionals still need to connect the dots, decipher the meaning behind the correlations, and ultimately approve the results. Another area of contention is the facial recognition software reliant upon AI, which has so far been inadequate. Yes, this software pretty much works seamlessly when it comes to unlocking our phones, but the requirements needed to judge and interview it effectively is completely another level. The National Institute of Standards and Technology conducted a study of some of the top companies like Intel, Microsoft and Panasonic and found that their facial recognition software was flawed. The software created a higher rate of unreliable results when trying to recognize black and Asian people in comparison to white people. An MIT study also found that the same issues when analyzing Amazon's facial recognition software. Skepticism remains around the effectiveness of this technology. It is unlikely that AI can understand all nuances of different individuals' physical movements and their voice tonalities. And how about people that have twitches, tics, or involuntary muscle movements, or people with disabilities? The AI may also discriminate against these sections of the population. Recruitment to date has been a people-centric process. Using algorithms to replace staff involved could turn away good candidates that do not approve of this. Respondents in a survey were asked how they felt about automating the recruitment process from start to finish. The outcome was negative. 73% of respondents said it would worsen their perception of the company, and this was because they liked human interaction more and believed that employers undervalue you if they are not involved. During this crisis, some firms are choosing to select candidates for interviews based on their geographical location. The closer an applicant is to the office, the better, as the employer doesn't need to fly the applicant in. Some companies are even using VR recordings to show candidates a tour of their office facilities and are utilizing video conferences for discussions. This is of course more cost effective for companies, and if these methods are accepted by candidates, it is likely to continue. Remote working has become essential for businesses due to the social distancing and lockdown measures imposed by the government. More employees will want to work from home after the lockdown measures are lifted. Businesses may welcome this change since they already incurred the fixed costs to facilitate their staff working from home. Employees can benefit from a reduction in premises costs since they only need to hire vital staff or need vital staff on site. Productivity may even increase since tardiness will fall, vacant sick days are less likely, and staff retention will improve since employees are likely to be happier with flexible working arrangements. Employers can select from a larger pool of talent since they are no longer reliant upon employees living close by. This will increase the likelihood that recruitment takes place over the internet, which in turn will raise the demand for AI-powered video analytics software. If employers are to continue with mobile working arrangements, they need to make sure their employees are trustworthy and self-motivated, because in-person micromanagement is no longer viable. There is an opportunity here for AI to vet candidates for their trustworthiness. An algorithm could screen online information on social networks and use CV information and interview performance as data points to determine reliability. Ultimately, mid to large size firms with higher staff turnover are more likely to seek AI solutions. Smaller firms that do not need much staff will not. According to Top Resume, 60% of job vacancies are filled via networking. A significant number of candidates, however, search for jobs via LinkedIn and other job boards like Indeed or Monster. They can upload their CV, apply to a job advertised, and then wait for a recruiter to give them a call. AI can be used to change the application process entirely. It could send job seekers that it believes will suit them instead of them initiating the job search. Before uploading a CV, a conversation with a chatbot could be required. Chatbots are used by many businesses to increase customer engagement and to assist them with issues. Such bots can be used in the recruitment process to answer queries, make the application process easier, and even schedule interviews. In fact, companies like JobPal are already selling such software and have helped companies like T-Mobile, Airbus, and STRV. 64% of questions were asked by candidates outside of business hours. The bots can give immediate replies to these questions, softening the burden on recruiters during working hours. A video interview with an AI could be added to the recruitment process, and then finally an interview with the employer. Firms judge candidates' social media to gather information and build a profile of their applicants. The first call to action is to make sure your social media displays you in a positive light and does not contain things that could damage your chances of getting a job. If you can understand how companies are using AI to extrapolate information, you are in a great position to adjust your profiles to help you get the job you want. Looking at the LinkedIn profiles of people that have been hired and adapting your profile in the same manner as theirs to the role you want can aid your chances. AI is being used to text mine CVs and cover letters, despite the fact that natural language processing has not yet been perfected. By changing the syntax of sentences, you may be able to change how AI judges your application. Tests have been done to show that changing the ordering of words in a sentence can affect how the AI perceives the sentence. My suggestion would therefore be to create more than one CV with slightly different wording on each and submit multiple versions to a job application. This will increase the chances of one of the CVs being viewed as positive, raising the chance of it getting through to the next stage in the process. But don't go overboard here, as submitting too many may hinder the chances if a HR person dislikes this. Job seekers will have to adjust their mindset in order to prepare themselves for an interview held by an AI. Responses to questions should focus on mentioning keywords for the role and the job specification. There's no need to focus on building rapport, but this doesn't mean voice tonality and body language should be overlooked. As mentioned earlier, AI that analyzes video interviews are far from perfect when used to examine Black and Asian people. If you are a candidate in this particular situation, you might want to opt out of video interviews conducted solely by AI and request an in-person interview. If there's no option to do this, make sure the interview environment is well lighted, perhaps wear less makeup than normal or even more makeup if it makes your skin lighter. I mean, these are unbelievable measures, I know. But I really want to hammer home that as things stand, I am not entirely convinced an AI can analyze a person's face, voice tonality and body language and then make an accurate assessment about their personality and predicted job performance. If lawmakers one day force companies to release the results of AI hiring selection systems, job candidates could gain new insight into how to improve their job applications. If AI is to be used in the recruitment field, it needs to be guided and governed by ethical framework. AI is there to make processes easier, cheaper and more reliable, but this does not mean that it should be allowed to achieve these objectives at any cost. Just like with human beings, AI must adhere to the rules. The buck stops with the individuals who create and monitor the AI in their organizations. An external regulatory board should be put in place to ensure AI adheres to the rules and regulations and complies with laws and ethical guidelines. We are starting to see the introduction of new laws and acts which will empower the court to take punitive action should businesses use AI unfairly. The recently created Algorithmic Accountability Act gives the Federal Trade Commission authority to create regulations to check so-called automated decision systems for buyers. In the US, Illinois, there's the Artificial Intelligence Video Interview Act, which states that employers must get consent from applicants before they use AI and to explain to applicants what exactly the AI is analyzing. I think more laws like these will be created going forward. Society will need it. In order to deploy AI in organizations, C-level executives and HR directors in particular should know how it arrives at its decisions. This will help to build trust with job candidates and employees. If an employee were to take an employee to court based on the decision an AI made, the employer needs to be confident that they can justify the actions taken by the AI and ultimately the company. The positive outcome being applicants are less likely to avoid applying to jobs in companies that utilize AI in their recruitment process if they actually trust the AI. Professionals such as HR managers with an in-depth knowledge of the recruitment process need to take an active role in the creation of algorithms. They are the ones with the knowledge and so their input is invaluable. They should make sure that biases are combated, diversity objectives maintained, and that the AI provides feedback we can understand. We will see an increase in AI use in the recruitment process over the next few years. It remains true that using AI for recruitment is not great for nuance, and we will see less of its use when it comes to hiring C-level execs and professionals. HR is the most people-centric part of a business which AI cannot totally replace, but it will supplement it. Employers will implement AI if it's cost effective and improves the recruitment process. But at the end of the day, candidates want people involved and businesses still want people involved. I mean, do you have any suggestions how to appease the AIs in recruitment? Let me know your thoughts on this topic in the comment section below, and please do like this video because it increases the video's visibility on YouTube. Take care and be safe.